All right, welcome back to our podcast. Today we have a big guest, and then I'll let co-host Ken take it over.
So today we have Andrew Northern here. What's up, man?
What up?
Thank you for joining the show. He is the CEO, aka founder of GamerURL, based at Mizzou, actually, right?
Yeah.
He was able to raise $25,000 for this company.
Yeah, that's big.
Within
that's huge.
2 years?
Yeah, sort of like a year and a half. The first year really not much happened, and then the second semester I was like, all right, we're changing things up.
Dude, that's a lot of money. I can't even imagine making that much money. What is GamerURL exactly?
Basically, it's just a team management and recruiting software for collegiate coaches, high school coaches, and then basically like a social media for just gamers in general.
Oh, okay. So
cool.
I have a chance to be on that platform.
Yeah. You don't have to be just strictly competitive. You can be like, hey, I want to share my clips.
Okay, I can play I'm pretty good at Little Big Planet, but that's the extent of it. So I don't know about all those.
If they have the Angry Birds section on there.
Yeah.
No, but I mess people up on Madden.
What's that, like a party pack game that you had?
Jack's Party Box.
Jack's Party Box. Yeah.
Party Box. That's fun.
We can get down on some party
Jackbox
box.
Jackbox games.
Oh, I got a Switch too.
Jackbox games. Yeah, that's it. I have a Switch. Fortunately.
Unfortunately, that's dope.
And it's not like PS4 cool. I
got one of those too. Yeah. We don't. Are you guys Xbox?
I don't know. Somebody back there's probably an Xbox.
Yeah.
I feel bad for these guys.
Tough scene.
But yeah, with Jackbox parties, it's really cool. You get a bunch of friends all together, and use your phone as a remote and type in answers, and it's just a funny game. We all spend late nights laughing at each other because we
sync your phone to it.
Yeah, you sync your phone to it and you can write in the answers. You can do it on anything.
How's that happen?
So the game runs everything,
I think it's Wi-Fi, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
connect your phone over Wi-Fi and go to this website, and that's how you enter in answers and everything.
That's dope.
Yeah, it's a really fun game, dude. We gotta get together and play it sometime.
Yeah.
So with GamerURL, so you said more you're working with collegiate as well. Mm-hmm. So I know that Mizzou's been getting big into esports lately, so that has to be really exciting for you.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the big things is I went straight to them when they announced that, and I was like, hey, here's what I'm doing. If I can't help with that, I'd like to help just in general. So then when I take him to go to other people, they'll be like, oh, he knows what he's doing. He's working in some kind of esports thing. But the coach actually really liked it, and he's kind of I'm not going to say partner or anything like that, but he's into it and is like, hey, we'll help you out. We'll test it out.
What was this process like? Because it seems very well organized.
Yeah, it's way out of my wheelhouse. So you're gonna
something that we could never even think of. This is some entrepreneur.
Yeah,
how did you just get it going? How did you start it?
So basically, I was at Mac, and you guys.
Yeah. That's how we knew each other. Really.
Yeah. So. I was gonna play golf there, and I had knee surgery 3 times in 11 months. And
golfing?
That's tough.
Yeah.
You tore. What did you?
So this is a whole different story. So
one bad swing or something?
No, I honestly don't know. So the first week I was there, my freshman year, we walk every time we play at Crown, and we walked 90 holes the first week, and I don't think I'd ever walk more than 54 in a week.
Yeah.
And I was like, to me, I was just like, oh, I'm tired, but this doesn't, no big deal. But then my knee kind of started it would pop a little bit, and I could just kind of feel something. It didn't hurt, but I was like, something's not right. I've never had any real injury in my life. And it got to where I was like, man, I'm having to take Tylenol to get through rounds and stuff. And then eventually I had to withdraw from a tournament. And I wasn't going to withdraw, but do you know Harry Wilshire?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Harry. I was playing
cool
with
guy.
Harry. And, and we get to the 8th tee, and I just flat shank one. And I hit that hotel off 8 at Crown. Yeah. I shanked it off 10. He was like, all right. He just goes and he grabs my back and sits down and goes, all right, you're done. That's it. Okay, yeah. I'll quit after that. And, so I had to have surgery. Ends up I'm going through rehab and everything, and about 4 months into it just quit healing, so I'd have surgery again to kind of clean it up, and I could play golf all the next summer, but it didn't feel right, so I was like, I can't play basketball, I can't run around and stuff, but I can swing. And then the very first day back, my sophomore year, I was walking onto the range, like first day of practice, haven't done anything yet. And they have a rope around the range, and I just like stepped over it, and when I like twisted my leg to get over it, it just like, I just felt it, like, this time I felt it, and it just like ripped in half, and I was like,
That's rough.
and it kind of quit after like 5 or 6 minutes. I was like, you know what? I know what I just did, but if it hurts like it did last time, I can play. I was like, I'm just gonna like say screw it, I'm gonna play. But this one was super painful, so I played for like a week, and then I just went to coach, and I was like, hey, I'm gonna go back to the doctor, but
What's that movie with?
I tore my meniscus.
This is the comeback.
Oh,
comebacks
where he steps on the sunflower
ACL
seed.
tear up. Yeah, he steps on like a sunflower seed. Just his leg just mangled. Is that what it was like?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh,
like I
jeez.
just not really.
okay.
I literally stepped over and I just like turned my leg like that, and when I turned it, I just felt it just like.
So how's it now? Can you like? Go
Yeah,
on
I'm
your
good
leg
now.
and you're
I'm good to go now. Yeah,
I'm good.
100%.
Time for the Tiger Woods
Recruit
comeback.
me. Recruit me to play basketball.
I'm actually, I don't play. I only play on the weekends, or like when I'm home in Bloomfield,
Yeah.
because I can't be bothered to play to pay to play up here.
Yeah.
And I'm better now than I was in high school or college, and I think it's just because
There
like
we
I
go.
don't care.
Yeah.
Back then, I was like, oh man, I gotta play good. I want to get a scholarship. Like I'm on scholarship at Mac, but I want to play good enough so I can go play here. And like, so then I would just like freak out and I would suck. And then now I don't care, and I'll just.
What was
go.
your ideal school then?
I don't know. I was just like, oh, maybe I'm gonna be really good, and I can like go play at a good D2 or like D1 or something. I was like, I'd be fine with being good enough to play at CC and just like being in Columbia, but that didn't happen. So after that last surgery, I
Retired.
yeah,
Retirement.
I was at that point I was retired, but I was my roommate was like really good at Call of Duty, and he was like a hardcore like they would play tournaments every single night, and they would make money, and he was making decent amount of money like just playing a tournament.
Doing what exactly? How do you make money off of it?
So like him and there was him and then two buddies, and they had this other guy that they were playing with, and like there's websites like CMG Gaming, or there was this thing called PvP Live that was really big when they were doing this, and you just play in a tournament. So like you get matched up, you put in like $2, you get matched up with whoever else, and you play through a bracket, and they would play Search and Destroy like best of 3 on Call of Duty.
I love Search and Destroy. From Black Ops.
Yeah.
Black Ops was legit. I remember just sitting in my underwear on the side of my bed trying to play Black Ops. My mom would yell at me, and I'm just like,
those classic like, I can't go to school today. Yeah. And you sit there in your own filth, beep, 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 and play for
Xbox turns on.
Yeah.
like the most satisfying feeling ever, because you're like, all right, I skipped school, I'm gonna spend all day.
You look at your phone, it's like 8:30. You're like, yeah. Everybody else is at school.
You're like, man, shit, is dinner ready? Go eat, come back, and continue.
Yeah, you have to leave the room. Oh, I don't know. I'm not feeling much better.
I remember this one time, I was like, I think 12. I was sitting on the edge of my bed because I don't have a seat or anything, just watching my TV playing. I'm pretty sure it was like Modern Warfare 2. Mm-hmm. And then at the corner of my eye, I see a flash through my window. And
flashbang.
It was like, that's what I thought. But no, it was like a flash, like somebody took a picture of me. And I'm like, oh man, I booked it out of my room, went in front of my house. And I'm like, hey, screaming at nothing. And I was thinking, I was like, man, I'm still in my underwear. So I walked back inside, and I was like going on my phone, like asking my friends, are you messing with me? Are you messing with me? And they're just like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm like, me neither. I guess it's just been a long day playing video games. I don't even game much anymore, really.
Yeah, I play like Fortnite and stuff, but or like
I can't
2K.
get into Fortnite like I used to. Like when Fortnite first came out.
Oh, God.
That was so fun. Now
we had it the first day it came out. Just somebody, one of those guys knew about it. They're like, hey, this is supposed to be cool. We should all download it and play it. So
I'm devoured your life.
Yeah, I'm in too deep. That was when I was hurt. So like I literally had to I just had my leg up in bed and just sit there and.
How'd you get to class and everything?
I would have to. Well, I was on crutches, so I'd have to basically. I'd get in my truck and then drive as close to the school as I can, and then crutch. And you can never really get that close. So then I would just have to crutch my way there, and it was very sad.
Oh, I hate crutches. I hate like how it rubs you raw.
At the end of the day,
kind of there, like underneath
crutches,
the arms.
You're like chafed.
You have to like wrap that like a little something over it, kind of give it that.
I always
extra,
thought that was stupid when I saw
cushion.
people like have like towels. I'm like, are they trying to dry up their sweats or something? Now I understand.
I never had that really.
Oh,
like,
I got it
for
all
me. me, like I never like because I guess I put like all the weight on my hands. So just like if anything hurt, it was my hands because I was like everybody was telling me they're like, oh yeah, that hurts your arm so bad. I was like, well, that ain't happening to me. So yeah, I don't know. I never really had that problem.
The only time I ever used crutches was like I flipped them upside down and used them as stilts and walked around. I was like, oh, I'm a giant. And I mean, I kind of wish I used those stilts today. I'm pretty short. If I ever go on a date, I just come in on those like crutch stilts. Yeah, what's up, baby? Just mess around.
So yeah, so like you said your friends are big into tournament games.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was trying to think. I was
What are you
like,
talking about? I was like, look at it.
I was like, I wonder where I was at. Yeah, okay, so basically their fourth guy quits and they're playing in these tournaments and they're getting pretty good and it was like, hey, Andy, you want to play with us? Like, we don't have a guy. And I'm like, well, I don't even have this game. So, like, no. And they're like, it's like $20 at GameStop. Just go get it. I was like, yeah, whatever. I don't have anything better to do. So I was horrible. And they would just have me, like, try to run around and distract the other team while they played. Or they'd be like, here, when it starts, run to this exact spot and then aim your gun, like, under this fence through this crevice. And if you see somebody, that's the only time you're allowed to shoot.
Go rogue.
I'm like, all right, bet. So eventually it got to the point where like they would always lose because of me, and I made a big deal. Like when I started, I was like, hey, if we lose, like no matter what I do, it is not my fault. Like,
it's not my fault.
I don't want to be in this. I don't want to be a part
otherwise.
of this. Like I cannot be blamed for any bad thing that happens. And then of course after like 3 games, one of them's like, Andy, every time, like, they just run by, you just shoot and you just miss. You can't even hit a person. Like, you can't do anything. And I'm just like, well,
that would give me so
I'm like, I'm not here. Yeah. I'm not here to do anything. I'm here because you need somebody. And yeah, so I eventually got tired of that. And I was like, why don't you guys just like go to like a recruiting site or something? Yeah. And I was like, you can find somebody infinitely better than I can. Because what they would do is they'd go on Twitter and they'd put like,
did you know if there was like other recruiting sites? Like,
well, that's what I was asking them. I was like, why don't you just go do that? And they're like, well, there really isn't anything for that.
Yeah.
Like, what we do is use Twitter. So they'd go to Twitter and they'd put like, looking for one for blah, blah, blah at this time. And like, hashtag like LF1 or whatever. Like, it was a thing. And there'd be like 100 tweets every night of people looking for somebody playing these tournaments.
Yeah, I kind of remember that because I'm like back whenever we used to play Call of Duty a lot, you'd always have the people that would private message you and be like, hey, if you're interested in joining this clan, just let me know and we'll do we have tryouts at Rust or
it was like that.
It's like there was no really big platform to get people. You just kind of had to like play with them on public and just like ask them.
And then here comes GamerURL.
Yeah, so that's what the initial idea was. I was like, all right, you know, that when I was talking to Zach about it, I was like, okay, well, this is 100%. If it's not a thing now, it's going to be a thing. I was like, so for me, like, I don't really have that much interest in using something like that. Like, when am I ever going to use that? Like, I'm just playing for fun. I play with my buddies. But I know a ton of people like you, and if that's not a thing, you know, like...
Make it a thing.
Yeah, I was like, this isn't going to benefit me, but somebody's going to make a lot of money off of this.
Yeah.
So how did you get the opportunity?
Cool if it was me.
How did you get the opportunity to be like, hey, give me money, Mizzou? Like, were you outside Jesse Hall with a banner and be like, support me? Give me money.
So actually, how I even got the first thing built, I invested in crypto. Back in
there it is.
In like
and then we all had our fair share of cryptocurrency.
Yeah.
I doubled my profits, and then before the bubble popped, obviously I pulled out.
Yeah, in like May of 2017, I put like $400 in Litecoin. I had like 15, or a little more than 15, and right before I left Mac, so this was like literally a week after me and Zach talked about the general like idea for GamerURL, and literally a week later was when all that stuff exploded.
Yeah.
And I sold all of it at like almost $400 a share, and I was just like, oh, I was like,
that's cool.
I was like, now we got this good idea, and I just made $5,500. Like, I can get this made. And so basically, I took like half of it out for that. I paid for part of my school, and then I reinvested the rest of it. And the stuff that I reinvested, I got like when the altcoin stuff just kind of blew up after the other stuff died for a minute. I just happened to be in the right thing, and I made like 6,000 or 7,000 more. And I was like, all right, bet. Like I'm getting a whole website built. I got my school paid for this semester, and then I went to Iceland for like 2 weeks. I was like, man, this is awesome. Like,
Living the best life.
Yeah, I was like, this is great. Life is perfect.
Man, that's crazy. I remember like a long time ago playing on Disney Channel or like any other game, like video games website online.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Just like online games, right? And I see like a little ad at the bottom right corner saying, buy Bitcoin or we take Bitcoin. I'm like, the heck is that?
I never knew what it was.
Man, if only I put at least $100 into that.
Any amount.
Then it was like
anything.
I think like 14 cents.
Yeah.
It started at 6 cents.
6 cents.
Yeah. If you would have put like I think it's $1,000 in Bitcoin the day, that it was available to purchase, and you for some reason, unbeknownst to me, you would have held all of that until it got to 20,000.
Yeah.
Because
I'm
no
so
way
impatient.
I would have sold it at $100. I would have sold it at $10 probably. But you would have had like $150 million. On a $1,000 investment.
That's
crazy.
Nuts.
And I think it's Bitcoin, or still to this day nobody knows who started it or who
it's
originally
supposedly
is
a
the creator.
mystery. He went by like an alias and he just like published it and put it out there and was like,
Probably died.
He's probably sitting in his house like,
he said he did. He was just kind of like he wanted to make the world better, so he just put it out there. He's like, I don't want credit for it. I was like,
all right.
I mean,
Better man
you'd have
than I
about
am.
$10 million
Big now. There's like what is that? There's a I think it was like an 18-year-old that was a millionaire from Bitcoin.
there's a lot of people.
I mean, it'd be easy to not easy, but like if you were early, it would be easy.
Well,
Like,
they said like that's why like mining was so popular, because there was
you could do
over
it.
billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin just floating around.
Yeah,
for people to get.
It was before like the mining thing. If you got in the mining before everybody got in the mining, you could actually get a lot of Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like you wouldn't just. Now it's probably near impossible.
Yeah,
but
mining
there's so
now,
many people that mine.
Well, the
it's-
mining rigs are just getting. Big companies are doing it now.
Yeah.
And like back then is just like I can make free money pretty much. Just buy this little rig and.
Back then I was playing pinball on my Windows.
I was on my Game Boy.
laptop.
I was probably like, Bitcoin.
I was catching Pokemon, just chilling in my room.
But like back to the money.
yeah. So I got the website built. I went through a thing at Mizzou.
So you're like doing this all yourself, it sounds like.
Yes, it was all by
This is
myself.
a big job. You deserve all this profit and credit.
I had to pay somebody from India to build my website because I didn't know anybody, and I just like posted a thing, and I was like, I took proposals, and these one people, I was like, yeah, it's good enough for me. So they did it, and then I went to this thing called Tiger Cage at Mizzou, and it was basically just like Shark Tank, and they were giving out like $10,000, and I went and pitched, and like. To me, I gave the exact pitch I wanted, and I like killed it. And then I didn't get it. They paid the top three. It was like 6,000, 5,000, 4,000, and I didn't get any money. And I was like, what? It's like that's kind of weak. Like, and it not from like I don't think my idea is like the greatest thing in the world. Like I think about it as critically as possible.
Dude, I watched your speech and everything, and I was like, man, I was convinced. I was like, well, still, like, take my money.
So like what you're doing, I can like is leaps and bounds ahead of what most people around this age is doing at like this time, like in different different ideas. Like most people are doing like cosmetics or something like that.
Yeah.
And
You're a
doing
founder
a
of a
whole
company.
platform.
Yeah.
You're reinventing how gamers connect and how schools can connect those together. I think that's incredible.
Do you ever pick up chicks with that? Like, hey, I'm a co-founder, or I'm a founder, and I'm a CEO of my company.
Well, I would. I don't think my girlfriend would be very happy with it.
So you did use that line. That's how you got the girlfriend.
No, we've been together since like my junior year of high school. And we worked together for like a couple months, but at this point it's like.
So did you, whenever you first told her about this idea, was she like, oh, yeah, or is she full gun ho
She
about
was just
it?
like, oh yeah, that seems like a good idea.
Go for it.
Like, yeah, no, I 100% have been like 1,000 times. I'm like, this sucks. I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
Like it's too hard. I don't know what I'm doing. But like her, and like my family and all my friends are like, no, like that's a good idea.
Yeah.
You need to keep doing that. And I'm like, well.
That's very great.
Like,
That's good that you have like
it's
that much support.
expensive, and I don't like it. But yeah, like if I didn't have like my family and like my friends that are just like nonstop, like whether it's like everybody's most of the time like, oh yeah, I want to work for you, and I'm like, well, I mean maybe well, we're not to that point yet, but I guess. But I have like my mom and some other people who are kind of like entrepreneurs themselves, and they're like. They kind of push me on the, like, if I'm not doing anything or, like, I don't know what I'm doing, they'll send me messages just like, hey, what are you getting done today? And I'm just like, all right, yeah, right. I need to focus. Like,
So are you going for school for this, or
what do you mean?
be an entrepreneur, or?
No, I'm a sports management student. So
Oh, you're big into sports.
yes.
So what happened with the tiger cage thing?
Right. So I didn't
Yeah.
get money, and I was like, I was really surprised. Like when I watched it, I was like, there's one that's a clear winner, and then I was like, there's this other one that was okay, and another one. Actually, no. I was like, there was me and then two others. Yeah, no. I remember now because the one that got it, I was like, what?
What idea was it?
It was called. At the time, it was called Quetzal, and they would do like.
They're done now. I'm kidding.
No, they're definitely not done. Like, looking back on it, I can see why they won because they had more solid stuff. So like, my website wasn't done. I didn't have I didn't have anybody on it, and it was just like, here's my idea. Here's this thing I'm building. It's gonna be ready in like 2 months. Like, you know, I did all I could do. Like, you know, I didn't have the metrics back. I've got 10,000 people on here.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it ends up like there's an in-home veterinary thing that got first, and then this Quetzal thing got second. It was like cow simulations and like farming. It was like farmers could use it, and then like teachers at schools could use it, and it would basically like you could put the genes and stuff into animals and like simulate like 20 years into the future what your like cattle and stuff will look like.
Yeah.
And they had some really good partners and stuff. And then this other one, it was like a Uber for tour guides, and they were all moving to New York
For
City.
tour guides?
Yeah, and they were all moving to New York City. Every person that I went against graduated 3 weeks after, and I had been at Mizzou for a semester, so I was like, all right, whatever. Like, it was like I'm 20, you know, like these guys, because everyone came up to me afterwards. They're like, "Oh, you did so good! Like, don't stop, don't quit! Like, that was such a good idea."
That must have been a pretty sad moment though, by not like getting that top.
It wasn't like sad. I was kind of like I wasn't angry or anything.
Just like,
because
yeah.
I knew the people that were in charge. Like, I have like I don't know. I'm really good at when I'm in like a situation like that. Like, to figuring out who the important people are, or I'm like, all right, I need that person to like. If nobody else in this room likes me, that person needs to like me. And I knew that was a thing. So like, I had people coming up to me afterwards. I had 2 or 3 different people that are like, hey, so like I am in this like investment group, or I'm like, what's he saying? We'd like to talk to you. And I'm like, all right, you know, that's cool. And basically ends up I get the website built. Never really did anything with those other people. And then they had another thing in the fall. Went through that whole deal. This one was a lot more money, and this was the pitch that you saw, and the team that got first, I knew they were gonna win. It was like a Fitbit for cows. That's what she called it, and it was like a collar, and it was like GPS. You put on the babies, like I don't know. You could tell if the mom or the babies were gonna die. It was a good idea, and then.
Just tracking cows, pretty much.
Yeah. And I don't want to hate on anybody that I went against, but the team that got second was.
You were just secretly flipping them off in the back.
I was like truly surprised, like, because the whole thing they tell you the whole time you go through all these, they have like sessions where you learn about stuff and like how to pitch, how to do financials, how to project, and all this stuff, and they're like, here's our criteria for what we're going to judge on, and it's like very serious, like we want this and this isn't this. So I do my whole pitch like I'm like, I kind of like to like use, I don't want to say like showboat or anything, but like I'm not just going up there and saying, here's my company, here's my financial blah, blah. I'm like,
just really want to push it.
I'm like all right, so let's think of, you know, like I played up, and so
I said this one investor helped you out.
Yeah, well, there was a few people that were just like mentors and stuff to me that would like help me develop things, but
were they like? You said they were investors, correct? Like they have serious money, like Mark Cuban, the Cubes, a bunch of Mark Cubans.
There have been some people, like I don't want to say names of people because I don't like. There's some people that like I don't know how they handle that kind of stuff, so I don't want to be like, oh yeah, so and so told me they would invest this much money. But people who are in Columbia and just the state of Missouri in general that have pretty high level connections have came to me and been like, we want to work with this, or like if you ever need, like after the entrepreneur request thing, I had a person come up to me who was you guys might know him, but I don't want to say I don't like. Just
No,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah. You don't have to say it.
but he's kind of popular. But he was like, hey, he just walks up and he gives me his card and he goes, hey, if you need money, you call me, and just like walks off. And I was like,
That's nuts.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But I think we should like take a break.
yeah, we're gonna take a real quick break, and we can get back to part two.
yeah.
Part two,
Alright.
let's go. So here we go. Go for it.
All right, so we're back here for part 2 of our podcast with the interview with Andrew Northern, and he was just, what were you saying before we left on the break?
Yeah, we were talking about the entrepreneur quest thing. So I didn't get top 3 in that either. That one I was truly, honestly surprised about. Like, I really didn't believe that one. I was like, wow, that sucks. And
Yeah.
then
I'd be pretty bummed.
I was
all
kind
that
of
hard work that was, like I said, it was a good speech, and like
Yeah,
I would've been
I
tired.
honestly didn't do that all the way. I never did my pitch all the way through until the morning of.
really.
Yeah, no, I don't. I really don't practice that much. I just like.
But that was a good.
Yeah, no,
presentation.
I'm very pleased with it. I'm super happy. That's exactly how I wanted to
Man,
do
you
it.
have every right to argue this. Like, very mad.
I've always been pretty good at like public speaking. Like, did Farmington have beta?
Yeah, we did the.
No,
it was
we're
like-
alpha.
it was a tri-cap or something. I don't know.
Yeah. we would go. Bloomfield was
What
really
fraternity
big. Bloomfield's really big in like the beta stuff. So like, I had to give speeches and stuff in front of like thousands of people before. And like, we would do the music stuff, and like I play guitar and sing. So like, I've had to do that in front of like 15,000 people, and like, you know, just like speaking doesn't bother me.
Uh-huh.
So I'm like, you know what? I know what I'm gonna say, and like I know the order of these slides. Like I can do the stuff I want to, and I don't have to practice that much because I know I can do it.
I wish I could
Yeah.
be like that.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. There's
I'm
no
more
way
like
I
the
could
person
do
like
it.
I'd rather look like an idiot instead of talking and presenting in front of people.
Yeah, that's
Like,
how
I can.
I
I
get
can
up there,
like,
like,
laugh
sweating.
at yeah.
Have that little note card. You know, thank you.
My name's Ken, and I'm a Virgo.
It's kind of just like I know that the stuff on there is good, and I know like what I want to say is good. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna do it. It's gonna be good. If I don't win, suck it. You know, like if I don't win, that's okay. You know, like I'm gonna just do my thing, and if you don't like it, then you don't like it. And
Freak off, Fitbit cow.
no, she was very good. She deserved it. She should have won. But yeah, a couple people came up to me afterwards, and they were like, "Hey, you know, if you need an investor, let us know." And then the group that actually ended up investing in me, I went through their whole, like, they do a diligence thing. So like they have a team reach out. It's like a bunch of MBA students, and they have a team reach out to you, and you like basically do an interview with them. It's like an hour long, and then you meet with them usually twice, and then you pitch to their class with all the other MBA students. And then I think I pitched another time, and after all that, the group that's evaluating you goes and pitches you to the actual investment committee, and then they're like, we think you should invest or you shouldn't. And then after they do that, the actual investment committee decides whether or not they want to ask you to come in to pitch to them and take questions from them on your own. And so that whole process was going on leading up to the Entrepreneur Quest deal. And that was about 5 months of just like taking questions, doing meetings, all that stuff. And
I'd be exhausted.
it was like January. It was January 10th. I remember very. I went in and I did exactly how I wanted to. Everything was great, and then I left, and I was like, that just didn't seem like it went well.
Yeah.
I was
the
like,
worst feeling.
yeah, I was
ever.
like, I did exactly what I wanted to do, and I feel like trash.
See, I get the same way, but except with exams. So like, I'll walk in there, I'll leave, I'll be like,
Every time.
you know what?
You know what?
That did not go
I
well.
failed, and I'm smiling about this.
and that's okay.
Let's go drink.
You know? and that time I didn't get it, and I was like, all right, you know, like I got to change something. Something has to be different. And between January 10th and the time I met with the guy to go over why I didn't get it, I had spoken with like 30 or 40 different colleges. I had met with Mizzou. I had done all this different stuff. And I was like, basically, here's what I'm doing now. Before he really even told me why I didn't get it, I was like, here's what I'm doing now. Here's who I've talked to. Here's why I'm doing it. Here's why it's going to work. And he was like, yeah, I think you should reapply for our fund again and see if you can get in. And I was like, okay. And the thing that the only thing
that again.
yeah, the thing that kind of bothers me is like that guy's in charge.
Yeah.
So like this whole time, like I know that he likes me, and he likes me more than the people on the investment committee or whatever. He's seen me pitch 7 times by now. And
he's wanting you to stand outside his house and just be like,
yeah, so,
invest in GamerURL.
Yeah, so I'm like, whatever. Yeah, I'll go through it. Like, he wouldn't tell me that if I'm not gonna get money. Like that's kind of my mindset. And so basically, whole thing again from like January to May, and in about March or April, I was like, I'm gonna drop out. I was like, I'm going to withdraw myself because I don't want to be in this. I was like, you know what? I don't care if I don't get the money. Like, I don't need the money. I need people.
Yeah.
You know, like, so I end up just being like, I started writing up a thing to tell them I was going to withdraw, and I put it in my drafts. And I was like, you know, I maybe have to pitch one more time. So I'm going to pitch. And then after that, I'll probably withdraw. And I pitched to that class, and this guy comes up to me and he's like, hey, that's the best I've ever seen you pitch. We'll be talking to you soon. And I was like,
it's funny that you said that. I have a rough draft of me wanting to resign from my job.
That's like a picture perfect movie story right there. Like a script, a perfect script.
I mean, like
right when he's about to press send. Hey, we're going to invest, but accidentally they open the door. They're like, oh, okay, he's out. We're going to take our money somewhere else.
I wasn't going to quit like GamerURL, but I was just going to be like, I don't need your money. Like,
get it somewhere else.
You've been acting like you're going to give me money for 10 months now. Like, I can do it without your money. And then he's like, yeah, that's the best I've ever seen you pitch. You'll hear from us soon. And soon ended up being like a month. And then he was like, yeah, we'd like you to come pitch like 2 weeks after that. And I pitched, and I actually worked. I worked an investment camp thing. This was like a really like high end luxury. I was just working event staff in the background. they were paying me $20 an hour, so I was like, yeah, I don't care. I'll do anything for $20 an hour. And one of the guys on the committee who I kind of had like a little history with, as like he's always the guy who's like goes at me in the questions, like always. It's like. Just
drilling you.
Yeah, and it's just like stuff where I give him the answer, and it's just like he doesn't like.
Where he's like,
He's like, yeah. So do you know this? And I'm like, yeah, I know it, and I tell him exactly like the whole history of that thing, and he's just like, okay,
yeah.
And he comes up to me, and he's like, this is while I'm working. He's like, hey, what are you doing here? This is the day after I pitch, and they usually tell you the day after if you get it. He's like, hey, what are you doing here? And I'm like, just working. You know, they're paying me to be event staff. He's like, oh, that's cool. He's like, hey, has so and so talked to you yet? And I was like. No, not yet. And he goes, oh,
my bad.
He goes, all right, well, I'll see you around. Just walks off, and I was like, it's like, oh God,
surprise birthday party.
Yeah, I was like, great, yeah, that means I'm not getting any money. So I just did all this again. I should have withdrawn in March. And then the next day, I get an email, and they're like, yeah, we'd like to invest $25,000. And yeah, so that's pretty much.
I mean, that's
he took it. He took it and bought a Tesla.
Yeah,
down payment towards a Tesla.
I've been like, I know that I can't do just whatever I want with the money.
Yeah.
But I'm still kind of in like a weird stage where it's like, I know that like I'm the boss and I can do whatever I want. Yeah. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know how to do anything.
Yeah.
I'm like. I'm still in the phase where I'm like, all right, that sounds like a good idea. And I like text people and I'm like, hey, like, do you think this is a good idea? Or like, do you think it'll be okay if I do this? And they're like, it's okay for you to do whatever you want. Yeah. Like you run the company.
So when you first got like that email said like, yeah, we gave you the $25,000 to invest or investing in you. What was your like reaction? Were you like, oh my God, like,
were you like, it's about time?
About damn time.
So I was still working that event. So I was working 13 hours that day, just like moving tables. It was the worst. Like it sucked, but they paid me
awful.
Yeah, it was terrible. But it was like a really like there was like some high profile people there. Like freaking, do you guys know Sam Hinkie? Sam Hinkie was there. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna meet Sam Hinkie. I never saw him, but I was getting paid $20 an hour. So my girlfriend is working at the same thing, and I get an email that morning, and he's like, hey, we'd like to invest, and I was just like. Sick. I was like, finally, like, cool. And I was pretty excited for a minute, and I was just
Are they giving you like a time frame to like get all this stuff done?
No, they were just like, yeah, we'll send you the paperwork, and you know, you can have a lawyer look at it if you want to. like
I am my own lawyer.
yeah, it's pretty straightforward. And so like I was excited, but like I didn't get like too pumped up because I was just like, I expected this.
Oh, you're too humble.
And like
I would have had a party.
Yeah.
I would have
First
VIP section.
we like when I came home from school, we kind of had like a
Bottle
we
service.
had
I
some
got you.
people over like at my house and just had like a nice dinner and stuff.
Yeah.
But like I was just like, okay, you know, I would have been more surprised if I didn't get it.
Yeah.
I was ready to not get it. I was ready to just be like, all right, you know, I'm about to show you guys. I'm burning this place to the ground. Like, in a year from now, you're going to be like, oh, man, we should have invested in it. I'm like, yeah, you're right. You should have. But, yeah, no, it all worked out. So
is that where the company's at right now?
yeah,
In the stage?
basically, yeah.
In the development. Okay, so what are your plans for, like, what's the future of GamerURL? Where are you going to take it?
Well, I'd like it to be the main recruiting profile or recruiting thing for basically like all collegiate esports, competitive esports in general. I mean,
Yeah.
Just for all like age groups and everything, or is there?
yeah, it's mainly like there's not like a higher end, but like the low end is like 15 or 16 because you can't really be in contact with recruiters in esports. There's really no regulations like there are in football or basketball or baseball for esports right now. But there will be, and it's going to be the same. So it's going to be like you can't talk to them until you're a junior, and you can't do this. So we kind of have it set up where coaches can initiate conversations through GamerURL, but it's at their discretion. So like because I get questions a lot on like, how are you going to prevent this, or like how are you going to stop these coaches from doing certain things? And I'm like, I don't have to do that.
Yeah.
That's up to the coach. Like
my job.
if you give if Rick Pitino gets his cell phone and that's all those hookers with his recruits, it's not AT&T's problem for giving them cell phone service. So I'm kind of the same way. I'm like, look, I'm giving you a platform to find these people. I'm giving these people a platform to make themselves known to you and other people, and how you use that is how you use that. And I really think there was in 2015 or 16 there was like 6 schools that were having like actual competitive esports that they gave out scholarships for. One of them was Columbia College, and from then to now there's well over 200 or 300.
Yeah, there's a lot.
And that's just like scholarship ones that are clubs and aren't scholarships. There's over 1,000. I mean, they're everywhere, but a lot of them are transitioning into competitive varsity stuff. So with Mizzou being as big, Mizzou's the biggest school in it right now. Yeah. Oklahoma is in there, but they're not as like serious as Mizzou is at this point. So being kind of like having this thing I have with Mizzou, and even with Columbia College, 'cause I've spoken with Columbia College quite a bit. Like they're 2 of the most prominent. Columbia College is number 1 League of Legends team in the country. So
wow.
Oh really? I didn't know.
They're
that.
like Columbia College is like the hallmark school for esports. They were like one of the founding. Yeah. So Columbia, Missouri is kind of like a hotbed for it, and like the the National Association of Collegiate Esports, their national convention is going to be in Columbia next year, or in like June. So kind of my goal is get this going, get schools on it, get players on it, and then Mizzou's on your side already. So you go and you work with Mizzou, try to get it in as good of place as it can be. Yeah. And then when that comes to town next year, kind of use those connections to be like, we need a platform to get in front of all these other schools. And I think there's certainly an avenue towards that because I've had a few discussions about it. But like there's really an opportunity to kind of like align GamerURL with the entire competitive process. So like in 5 years, when every country or every school in the country is has varsity esports and has given out scholarships, when they start a new program or they've got a program going, GamerURL is just like something that's a part of it. Like when you have a high school basketball team, you're gonna have Huddle. Yeah. So I want it to be the same way with like, you're going to have an esports team, you got to have GamerURL.
Well, yeah. I mean, that makes sense too, because like esports, like you're saying, is such an up and coming area. Like,
it's taking off.
I can remember when we were young, like people being like, oh, you're just going to sit inside all day and play games. Like, go play sports.
I'm thinking like, what if I continue my career from playing Club Penguin and
now I'm like, I'm kind of mad because I'm like, you know what? I could be making money if I just would have stayed with playing video games all my life.
Exactly.
It's just so weird though, because I mean, you never could have known. 5
Yeah.
years ago, this wouldn't
Yeah.
make sense. It'd be
Yeah,
so
if
your
you're
face,
talking-
Mom.
You're gonna get paid to play games.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna go to college for games. What are
If
you
I
talking
told
about?
my mom 5 years
Yeah.
ago, like, yeah,
I went to college to play video games.
Yeah, like-
she would have been like, "Oh, I'm not paying." your
I feel like that's
She'd
something
be
I
like-
probably did say, and they're like, and I was even like,
like, yeah, you're gonna go to college and major in video games. Yeah, I did too.
So, do you
I
know if you
majored
have
in
like
beer.
any competitors?
Do what?
Do you know if you have any competitors in that kind of field?
Yeah, there's a couple. Nobody really focuses on the college thing right now. There's only, so like one of them that's like kind of a big one is like Be Recruited.
Mm-hmm.
But what they do is they've basically taken like a football or basketball template and then they put esports on it. And the only thing you can search for is GPA, year you graduate, and height and weight. So
not
yeah,
very
see,
specific.
so like,
how's that going to help you at all?
yeah, and that's what I love about like the idea of GamerURL is like speaking like as I was an avid gamer when I was young, and like speaking like in that, like gamers are almost a different subset of people. Like they like to
it's
are
a
usually their
very
recluses.
specific culture.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like they're
uh-huh.
and like
It's this whole
so it's
own
nice
thing.
for them to have their separate thing like outside of like the norms like football and basketball. It kind of gives them that like
Right.
we're here, esports is a real thing, give us the respect we need.
It's
Please, I beg you.
it's very different. It's the same, but it's also very different. So
Yeah.
like when people are like, oh well, when I investors ask me like, okay, so do basketball coaches use Be Recruited? And I'm like, well, yeah, some of them do. Smaller schools do. Like
Yeah.
Mizzou's not on Be Recruited, but like in esports, it's going to be very different.
Yeah.
It's like you can't if I'm a basketball coach, I know that Michael Porter Jr. when he's a
Yeah.
junior when he's a junior senior high school, I know he's running around just killing everybody in the state
Yeah.
of Missouri. I can go watch him. It's
Yeah.
easy to figure out who he is, where he's
Uh-huh.
going to be at. Like, but if there's like a just absolute god Overwatch player chilling in his basement in Farmington, Missouri,
Hey, you can just say my name. If you want.
yeah,
Cheeto finger dust on his finger.
like
How red Mountain Dew by the side.
how's a coach going to find him?
Yeah, I
like
know.
they're
Exactly.
not. It's just not going to happen.
And
So-
even like you said, like your competitors, they have a few things listed. Like I don't like in basketball. Maybe if you see somebody that's like 6'8", you're like, oh yeah, we'll look at him more. If you see somebody in esports that's 6'8", that doesn't make a bit of difference. like,
yeah,
We want you to be
Like,
5'2", be able to sit in a small chair.
that's one of the things I use in my pitch is I'm like, well, if you wanted to use Be Recruited, you could go there and you could search for 6'7", 230-pound Overwatch players.
Yeah.
So is your like
Yeah.
website up for this?
The first version is still up right now. Yeah.
Oh really?
okay, very cool. So like, I mean, if you want to, you could shout out a link, and we could even put it in our video
Yeah, it's just
description.
Time out, we'll
GamerURL.com.
just make the intern do it.
Intern.
Intern.
So I had a question, like, where do you go to get these developers that are gonna like help you with this,
Right.
like this project?
So the first one, I just went to like Upwork and put up a proposal, and then I just like
Okay.
interviewed people, and it was interesting to say the least. But I've got a pretty big connection. I'm pretty. I don't want to say like well first, but like I'm in like the entrepreneur community, I guess, in Columbia now, just because.
And you're a very well-spoken person.
Yeah.
I just like all the people that are the judges and like running all these competitions, like pitch things at Mizzou. I've been in like every program Mizzou's done since January 2018. So,
Man, I'm telling you, if you were to sell me a bag of trash, I would I'd buy two. I'd buy 2 bags of trash.
so like those people are all in charge of stuff in Columbia. So I go to them because a lot of them have a background in that. And I'm like, hey, I know that you're probably not interested in this because your thing is just helping other people. Like, do you know somebody who's interested? Do you know somewhere I can go to find people?
Mm-hmm.
And they have really good connections. So I really am just like going to people that I know what they're doing. And I'm like, you guys know what I'm doing. Like,
yeah.
you know this
Yeah.
thing. Like, I'm looking for somebody who's into this as I am and wants to work on this full time. So like, I kind of have a few people lined up that I'm going to interview and hopefully like bring on somebody like to
Yeah.
be like I guess like a partner that that's the whole technical side, and then I do the other stuff.
So, like, you know how you're like scrolling through Facebook on the side of your bed late at night, and you like ever so often run into like a huddle highlight?
Mm-hmm.
Is your platform gonna kind of be like that? Where
Yeah,
you see like
it's gonna
highlights
be-
of players' clips and everything?
Yeah, 100%. So like you're gonna have like if you're just using it as a player, it's literally gonna be like Instagram.
Okay.
And
That's
so
really
like
cool.
Yeah,
you
that's very
can
cool.
you can like you can't necessarily comment because certain thing with gamers.
Dude, you suck.
I'm not.
And your mom. I'm kidding.
I'm not allowing people to write words.
Yeah, that's probably,
So there's gonna be like you can comment like emojis and stuff like that. But basically, you have a view like. I don't know if I'm gonna keep with this, but I've had it on all like the mock-ups of the stuff.
Yeah.
But like instead of like this or whatever, as a joke, I put yeet this. But now it's kind of grown on me and I like it. So it'd be like you can see things by like most viewed and most yeeted.
Yeah.
and
have like a sound effect whenever you press it. You're like, yeet.
Yeah. So
That's cool. Yeet.
like people, you can follow people or follow teams.
Uh-huh.
It's like when you can go like it's literally just like Instagram, but for video games.
So how will they post these videos? Is there gonna be like a certain format they have to follow for the video post?
No,
or is
you just upload. Basically, like you'll upload a video file onto it, and
Okay.
then you like tag the game. You tag the game, maybe like tag the date, and then you just put like a title for it, and that's it.
Man, that's really awesome.
So
That's
it's
really
pretty,
cool.
and then like you can go to where you can search for it. You just be like, I want to watch the most viewed Fortnite clips or most viewed Overwatch clips from this week, and then this pops up.
So these these are like just quick clips, nothing like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah,
like
you can
highlights.
put that, like you can do that if you want to, but I assume that most people like there'll be people who do that.
Yeah.
They're like, this is my highlight reel. I want coaches to watch this video.
Yeah.
But I figure the majority of people will be like, oh, watch this sick 45-second play.
Yeah.
And then it's going to have, and then you can take that and you can share it on, there's be a share button. You can share it directly to Twitter.
Yeah, I have like friends that would always post on Twitter and everything.
Yeah,
Just
just
like
like
little like
snippets.
3-5
Those are the
second
things like you press on from share Xbox.
Yeah. Just man, so you're gonna have like Microsoft and Sony sign you up and just be like, hey, post directly to GamerURL.
Yeah, it's. I think that can help with like the whole like viral aspect of it. Like when you're sharing stuff on Twitter and then to watch it, you have to click on it and it takes you to GamerURL. And, I mean, it could certainly help with just like getting the name out there. Like I wanna help make the Zions and Michael Porters of video games.
Yeah.
And I want because like people who don't care about video games or just casually play video games, there could be the greatest player in the history of the universe could come. And not one person is going to give it.
Yeah.
Like, they won't care at all.
Yeah.
But in the gaming community, everybody's like, oh my God. Man, like, this kid's a senior. Where's he going to go play at? Like, I want to be the person that helps create that hype. And
touch that little 12-year-old's heart.
Yeah. Like, when you're on GamerURL, you're like, oh my God, there he goes again. Like, this kid's insane. Who's going to sign him?
Yeah.
So...
So, like, I know, like, because, like, just by, like, you talking about it, you're really passionate about this, and I really think this is a great idea. Like... How are you prepared for this to, like, when it takes off? Like, how are you going to deal with, like, the thousands of uploads or thousands of users, millions of users? Is it just going to, like, something you're just going to play by ear? Or?
Yeah. I'm
just going with the flow, get rich or die trying.
I mean, we're going to have an infrastructure behind it. It's probably going to be, like, all the video storage stuff is going to be, like, cloud-based.
Okay.
Whether it's through, like, Cloud or, like, Amazon Web Services.
Okay.
So, like, that's going to be probably the biggest cost.
Oh,
yeah. But everybody's moving to cloud-based, like anything and everything.
It's the only way to make it work correctly. It will not, like, if there's 50,000 people that use it, it will not work the right way if it's not cloud-based. It'll be too slow, it'll be clunky, you can get hacked, like your chances of disaster are much higher unless you just have it in a third-party thing like that. So that's what planning to do with that. But obviously... I have no idea what it's going to be like when there's 500 people on it.
Yeah.
It could be like, oh, that's pretty cool. And then when there's 10,000, it's like, wait, this is kind of a problem now. And then when it's 100,000, it's like, oh my God, like what's going on?
Well, yeah, and like it's worth because I have done software engineering classes at Mizzou, and I know like how to work with like AWS and stuff like that. And I know firsthand, it's worth spending the money to have the security and the reliability.
Yeah.
Because if you go out and you're trying to cut the edge on or cut the corner on some of those things, that can really just mess up something if it gets hacked, if it gets deteriorated.
I would much rather pay somebody to do it, like, just in anything. Like, especially that. Like, I honestly don't know what's going on in like web stuff, but I talk to people that do, and they tell me about it, and they're like,
just pay them.
Here's why we can't do that. Here's why we can't do this, and
take my money.
So it's obviously like you said, it's it would be silly to not do that.
Yeah, and like for those that don't know, AWS is just Amazon Web Services, and they offer a variety of different type of project-based things. So database, you can even do like you can store your database there. You can store cloud storage. You can do different website hosting. Just a bunch of servers that Amazon offers. So it's a really cool,
Yeah,
really
you
neat.
basically pay them to.
I just went cross-eyed trying to listen to that.
They carry like the heavy load of all this stuff. That
And
you
there's
got
big
going.
companies that use AWS.
Yeah, it's a very
Yeah.
big. When I did my financial projections for like my slide for it, I did like, all right, if we had like 10,000 users and they can each like have 20 hours of video on their account, and every single one of them had that maxed out, and it was like this much, like we would be paying this many $1,000 a month. And I was like, man, I hope somebody asked me that question. Thinking back, oh man, he's thought about this for sure. And then somebody's like, yeah, like where'd you get that cost? And I was like, well, so that gave me some bonus points in my pitch.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm excited for you, dude.
Yeah, I love
excited
it.
too,
You're
yeah.
very like prominent. It's like very. I'm like, let's get it going.
Exactly.
Like,
My son
I
doesn't
wanna
make
use
it in football, and he's gonna be a gamer.
Yeah,
I'm
absolutely.
gonna buy every single system whenever he's.
Well, thank you so much for coming on and talking
for
about
being
this.
on
This is
Average
cool.
Guys, man.
Yeah,
Hopefully
Average
dope.
Guys, first
I'm
interview.
sure we're gonna have you. on
First
quite a
best
bit.
interview.
I'll come on literally anytime.
I'm glad.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, what are your like social media tags or handles? If you
Yeah,
don't
we
care?
can go ahead and
or
put those in the
for
videos.
No, actually,
GamerURL
you
if
have 30 seconds to say it to that camera right there.
Yeah, just give them
Timer.
everything you want to know.
Timer.
Yeah,
And
anything
then-
you want them to know.
Oh, your time now. Say.
Okay, GamerURL on Instagram, ask GamerURL on Twitter, Facebook, doesn't matter. Andrew Northern on Instagram and Andrew Northern 2 because I wasn't good enough to be Andrew Northern on Twitter. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Man, I'm
Hey, yeah, thank you.
I'm sold too.
You got
Take my money.
Yeah, thank you so much, and that is a wrap, folks.
See you guys.
Yep.